Welcome to Mindset&Co. I am your host who is feeling pretty good, I must say. After being kind of sick for the last 2 weeks, I'm finally getting out of it, so pretty happy about that. Anyway, today we are going to talk about money mindset because I know money is such an important subject in our lives. And I have a few tips, and there are a few things that I also want you to realize through this podcast. So let's dive in. Isn't it so interesting that money takes such a big part in our lives, and yet we don't learn about it at school? Well, at least I didn't. We learned mathematics, we learn physics, we learn French because I'm originally from France. We learn history, geography, all of these things that are all very interesting to learn. But I felt like I didn't learn the basics of life, like how to properly save money. Are you supposed to open an account for your retirement funds? What are investments? All of these things that could be very useful in the everyday life of adulthood, I never learned, and I'm sure a lot of you didn't as well. And when I was launched into life at 18 as a student, so not fully yet a professional adult, but still I needed to have my own bank account and handling all my money, I just felt really lost and without guidance. I just thought that it was about putting money into your savings account and just, making sure that you don't go in the red, in the minus $200 within the month. And I thought it was it. And it was only pretty recently that I've learned about investing, retiring, and especially with having a business, you need to learn about all of these and learn about all the business accounts, how to transfer your money, about taxes related to business. And let me tell you, I still felt and sometimes still feel pretty lost with it. And I'm really angry that I was never taught this at school. And I considered it basic adult learnings that we should have. And I think a lot of us just go through life without learning all these basics, and we get pretty mad at money because we don't know how to handle it really, and we don't learn all these one-on-one basics. And life gets complicated when you don't know how to handle those simple things for yourself, or if you just rely too much on someone to do it, then it can be frustrating. And today I'm gonna dive more into the mindset part rather than, the 3D world technical part, because I am not an expert into that area. Definitely not. I have some knowledge now. I've been doing a lot of research. I have an advisor as well who's explaining things to me, but I'm definitely not an expert into the technicality of it. So I would much rather prefer into the mindset of it, which is also a very important component of money. And one thing I want you to understand now, money mindset one-on-one, is that money is a tool to survival, right? You want to make sure that your basic needs are covered, and that usually goes through money. So basic needs, the two main needs for humans are food and shelter. Okay, so once you have that covered, your brain is like, okay, that's already one thing. And the third one, you might not have guessed it, the third basic needs for humans is a sense of belonging. Yes, we need to have community. And that can often goes with doing activities with friends. And while a lot of activities can be done for free without involving money, I would say the majority of it involves going to a restaurant, going, paddling, going to this yoga activity, maybe going to a bar, get a beer. All of these involves money. And that is part of one of our basic needs, which is, again, sense of belonging. And when you feel like you don't have enough money and you can barely get your needs covered, then you might complain about it. You complain about it because you're scared. You're scared that your basic needs are not going to be able to be met. And what I want us to think about is that money is neutral. Money is a tool. It's neither good or bad. But when we think of expressions, think about your childhood. What type of expressions did you hear when you were a child? Maybe from your parents, from other relatives. Usually that goes with money is evil, money doesn't grow on trees, all of these, which are pretty negative sentences to say. And as children, we're just sponges. We absorb everything. We hear all of the experiences. We absorb all of that. So we grew up with that thinking that money is not good. When in reality, it's how you use money that's important. Okay? Because a lot of us think of rich people as evil because this is usually the type of people that are portrayed in the media because they've done a bad thing and suddenly there's this whole media thing involved, and we see a lot of evil things going on with money, people using money as for bad purposes. In reality, if you had money and you wanted to use it for good, would that make money bad? If you would have a lot of money and would give it to charity, which you can also do when you don't have a lot of money, but let's say for the purpose of this podcast, you have a lot of money and you could give it to charities, would that make you a bad rich person? No. Okay? Again, money is a tool. Let me give you an example. You have a knife in your hand. You can use it to cut your veggies, make a nice warm meal for your whole family. Or you could use that knife and stab someone. Right? Would you say, but it's the knife's fault that this person did it? No. The person chose what to do with this knife. It's the same situation with money. And so there's a whole mindset reframe to do when you grew up thinking that money was bad, and that you grew up with this mindset and it still keeps going into your life, because a lot of the time it's just that we don't understand how money works and how we can better use our money. And again, the system is not always in our favors, because when you don't understand something, you're just putting your money in like all the bad places, if I can say, instead of helping it grow in other ways. Again, I'm not going to enter into the technicalities today because I'm not an expert into that, but I'm an expert in mindset, so that I can help you with. And recently, I came to the realization that once you have a lot of money, but money that makes you feel safe and you've been doing the mindset work behind it, then your brain is able to get out of this scarcity mode, because you can think, okay, now that my needs are covered and will be forever covered, I don't need to worry about this. So you can come from your sympathetic nervous system, which is the red zone, the danger zone, if I can say, to a parasympathetic nervous system, which is associated with the color blue, and get back to, okay, now I can move on to other activities in my life because my needs are being taken care of. I don't need to worry about that. Whereas when you feel you don't have enough money, you'll just be stuck into this mindset. I don't have enough money. I need to have my needs met. And oh my God, I'm so stressed about it. You're going to be in the stress zone, the red zone. And it's not just about having a lot of money, because you can have a lot of money and still have a poor mindset, a poor person mindset. You can have a lot of money, and if you've been careful with your money all your life, you're going to be careful with your money when you're rich. And when I mean careful, I mean being overly careful when you don't need to, where you could use that money to experience things and, keep it in your savings, keep it in your retirement, keep it in your investment, all of these, and still have a lot of money to have fun. But if you're in that poor person mindset, you're not going to enjoy that money because your mindset will still be in the red zone. So working on the technicalities, learning about how to use your money is as important as working on your money mindset. The two goes in hand. And there's one thing that I've learned in the lesson, that really money is a mindset. It's because whenever I needed money or I thought I was going to run out, it suddenly came from unexpected sources all the time. There was never a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be homeless. It always came from unexpected sources. So for the example, when I was a student, I struggled quite a lot, okay? Let's say that I had to work next to my classes. I had to work every summer. And I had free scholarships when I went on exchange. I went on exchange in Canada. I had free scholarships at that time. And, I didn't know if I would be able to make it. I didn't know if I would have had the scholarships at first. But it sort of happened. And I made it work. And then my last year of master, I was in Sweden and I couldn't work because I didn't speak the language. I didn't speak Swedish. I was on a small island, so it's not like there was a lot of work either. And I had one scholarship. This one scholarship was to pay my rent. All of my scholarship was going in my rent. And thankfully, my aunt sent me money. She saved me. She sent me some money per month. And I was going to the food rescue. There was a supermarket that did food rescue. And I managed to buy really big bags of groceries for the equivalent of what would be maybe $5. And that's how I survived. I ate salad for so many months. Now I cannot see the side of a salad, I swear. I ate salad for so many months. But I had the faith that I would always be covered, that money would always be there for me, because I really wanted to finish my master and I would make it work no matter what. There was not a doubt in my mind that I would run out of money, even though it was a very strict bank account that I've had. And it was very scary sometimes, yes, but I made it work. And, having this mindset and having worked most of my studies next to my classes all of the summer, while my friends, they didn't have to work. They had, all the money from their parents that could cover it. And I really learned what it was to work hard from, this young age. And so I always thought I had to work hard for money. Otherwise, money is not coming and I wouldn't deserve that money if I wouldn't work hard. So it really impacted me in my life, in my professional life, that I had to work hard to make a lot of money. Until it didn't, until I had to do my money story and I could see all of these patterns going on and really telling myself that I don't need to work hard, I need to work smart, right? You've probably heard that before, work smarter, not harder. And that's why I really invite you to listen to my Hustling Culture podcast. It is episode 1, where I talk a little bit about this episode. But, looking back into that time, like I said, even though I struggled, I always had the money no matter what. Even though at first I wouldn't know if I would have had the money, but I had faith that, I would have it and that everything would be okay because I would make it work no matter what. And that mindset always helped me in life. And this is why I would say miracles happen sometimes, where I was probably in really bad situations and suddenly, the money would magically come from somewhere. And I would be like, what? What is this? And what I'm saying is that it takes a little bit of mindset work to come to the state of peace, that everything is going to be okay, that you're going to be taken care of no matter what. And I would say the first thing to do for that is to write down your money story. So think of your earliest memory of money, right? When you were a child, what is your earliest memory of money? Then you go from this point to today. So you do like a little bit of storytelling, right? Of your whole life through, with the eyes of money. And sometimes the situations that happened to us when we were children or when we were teenagers, when you look back on it with your adult eyes, you can understand things a little bit better. And you can say, oh, okay, I thought about this from another perspective. And I didn't realize back at that age, but looking back on it, I understand now why I have this pattern, why I believe this. And the money story is a very powerful exercise. Because sometimes when we're children, we don't have the emotional intelligence just yet to process situations. And therefore, you kind of grow with it and don't really think about it. But when you go back on your story with now your emotional intelligence as an adult, you're able to really understand things a little bit better and how it's affecting you today. So look back at your money story and look back at where you are today and really see where you're coming from, and think that no matter what happens in this life, you're always taken care of. You're always okay. That can even be your mantra. You can, create a wallpaper, put it on your phone, write it on a paper, put it on your walls all over your place. I don't know, or repeat it all the time, several times a day as a mantra. And that is really going to help you. And that is all I had to say for you today. I like to keep my podcast under 30 minutes because I think that you're really able to keep listening and get the most out of it. So I like to keep them kind of rather short than longer. Let me know if you like this format. And if you like this podcast, this episode, please rate the podcast channel. You can write me on Instagram. All the links are in the description. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next week. Bye.